Hi Virgo, this is a reading for May 2019. Thank you for joining. Please set aside anything that you're doing. Don't multitask while you're doing this reading. I want to make sure that you get the most out of your time with me. You may even want to put headphones on so that you can really be present and focused on what we're discussing here. So while I'm shuffling, please take a moment here to check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to connect with me, with my higher self and my guides, so that we can create a feedback loop to make sure that messages that are relevant for you are passed along and I can share them with you here today. Let's take a look. All right. Okay. Interesting cards here for you, Virgo. At the heart of the reading you have the Fool, upright position, crossed by the Seven of Pentacles. This is a nice feeling. Like my first impression when I saw the Fool go down right away was like a fresh palette, you know, like a feeling of that new that you've been kind of waiting for some time. It's finally here. I feel like this month could be quite significant for you. There's a lot of powerful archetypal cards here in the spread. And the feeling is very much about, I'm hearing refresh and restart. I think some of you have been kind of crafting your own makeover for a little while now, and it feels like this month could be the moment where that is really, really evident to other people. As much as it has been for you for some time, I think that other people are going to start to really notice, and you might find people actually approaching you this month saying, oh, something's different about you, what's going on? It may be that you actually transition into something different in the external world, but it feels more like you've been kind of restoring your energy from the inside out. That's what it feels like. There's like this reconstruction from the inside out. And that feels really good. It feels very like thorough and very pure, like a kind of cleansing, like even down to the bone marrow. There's a few repeating numbers here in the spread. You have 2 7s, 2 9s, 3 3s, 2 queens. From the major arcana you have Death, the Emperor, and the Empress. So let's get in here a little bit deeper and see what's going on. So the Fool at the heart of the reading, crossed by the Seven of Pentacles. I feel like for some of you, this is an indicator that there is something here about new financial beginnings. You know, some of you may have been kind of feeling a bit challenged recently around making a transition from one way of earning money to something different. And I might add here that this is actually the only Pentacles card in the reading. Oh, sorry, there's the Queen here as well. She's in reverse. But you do also have the Emperor and the Empress from the major arcana in your spread. And those cards are very much energies about the physical realm, about earthly manifestation. The Emperor is a builder. He's someone that's very much in control of his domain. He's built his empire. The Empress is one which is much more in the realm of physical eloquence, a sensuality, a kind of mastery over the physical realm as well. And so both of those energies in the spread, along with the Seven of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, are telling me that you are kind of embodying a new sense of a type of mastery in the physical realm where you are kind of taking the reins with regard to your physical presence on earth. And so for some of you, that it may or may not actually have much to do with money at all, but it is kind of telling me that there is a way that you are grounding into a space of your own being, which is kind of next level. There feels like this quantum leap between where you've been and where you are now, as far as how you let me just find the right words. It's almost a kind of communication with earth, with the element of earth, with being on earth, with being human, that's somehow different. Like you've transitioned from one state of being to another in the way that you respond and react and interact with the physical realm. And it feels really powerful. It feels like a really like I said, a kind of quantum leap, a kind of transition that feels like your relationship with yourself has evolved and developed and grown in a way that makes me feel really empowered. Like, makes me feel like you are more empowered than you have been. Like, seeing all this energy in the crowning cards of the reading, like the Empress, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, even the Three of Cups and the Nine of Wands, it's telling me that there is this level of embodiment that is being issued through you, that is, I'm stumbling a little bit for my words because I'm kind of trying to translate energy that I'm feeling and trying to put it into language. But basically, a better communication, like the dialogue you have with yourself, your relationship to yourself is improving, and so your way of being in the world is actually also improving. And it's a much more empowered, much more grounded, much more connected state of being. And what that brings with it is a greater sense of compassion. I'm also feeling like the energy that you are embodying now it's like your frequency, your healing frequency has been amped up. So whether or not you work in the healing arts, there is something here about your frequency being more attuned and more fine-tuned in a way that allows for a greater capacity of frequency to run through you that then can be passed on, because you are grounded and you have kind of created a greater space of connection to your own sense of who you are, and that can be transmitted through you and shared with other people. That feels really beautiful. It's a very like compassionate, loving, also creative feeling that's coming through here. I've kind of covered all those top cards here. I want to go into these lower cards here because I kind of haven't really spoken on them. But what I feel is here is that, as I said, you have Death and the Seven of Swords in reverse, and here you have Seven of Wands in reverse with Three of Wands upright. And then at the center of the bottom lower cards, you have this Five of Cups in reverse. What this feels like to me is a letting go. There's definitely a big letting go here. There's a big shedding. There's a huge release in a way that feels more willing and voluntary than it being enforced upon you as if it were like a Tower card kind of moment, right? This is more like an acknowledgement of what has been before is no longer a vibrational match for you. And so there's a willingness there for you to kind of pass on that energy and let it go in a way that feels very empowered, because you're doing it by choice, not because you are struggling and resisting against what is an already defined path of growth for you that you are struggling against, and therefore the universe has to kind of help you transition in a way that's not as comfortable. This is a different feeling. This is more like you understand that the past has gone by, you are a different person, and what has been before is all perfectly as is, and you accept, you forgive, you release, you purify, you extract, and you use it feels like you're using this moment, or this moment up until now, because this could kind of also be a little bit of past energy, and this is feeling more like present or future energy. What I feel is here is that you're utilizing this time to genuinely evaluate and kind of inventory and archive and file away what you've done, what you've been, who you were, the people even around you, the kinds of things you did, what you did, for what you experienced as pleasure, what you experienced as pain. All these things have kind of been done and put away now, and you're kind of like looking at each thing one by one and giving it a blessing and passing it along to a new space for it to exist that is free of any limitations that it might have if it were still attached to you. I hope this is making sense. So, and in doing so, having this evaluation moment, you are then freeing up a lot of energy for you to be able to visualize and project into the future what is next for you. And what is next for you is what I kind of already described. I kind of did this reading a little bit backwards, but that's just how it goes. So you have this Three of Wands here as a kind of like moment of evaluation and like using this moment to burst forth with ideas. And then the Three of Cups there in the hopes and fears position is sort of saying this is a kind of like bursting forth, as I said, of or springing forward with new visions for yourself in a way that has has in mind greater well-being, greater abundance, greater joy, more pleasure, but in different ways. This is like a kind of, yeah, as I said in the beginning of the reading, a lot of you have been maybe working on your own personal makeover for a while. And here we're seeing like the values and qualities that you are imbuing into your current spell crafting to see what it is that you're going to do with this fresh energy in the next round. Yeah. And as I said, the Queen of Pentacles here in the crowning, in this hopes and fears position, along with the Queen of Swords, even though these are both reversed, I'm feeling this as a kind of, and then with the Empress there in the outcome, look at all this feminine energy. I'm feeling like this is definitely like a moment of catching up to your own self. You know, like I'm hearing dress up. But I feel like there's things here of like, it's a very grounded, a very humble kind of energy of like, you kind of acknowledging that the door is closing on a previous cycle. And this is a time for you to re-envision yourself and the life that you want to have and the kind of quality of energy that you want to experience and that you want to share is being kind of re-described here in a way that it frees you up from any kind of past limitations or attachments to certain things, people, places, activities. And this feeling here of like releasing yourself from the struggle of trying to keep up with all of that stuff. You know, the Nine of Swords as well. Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands together is telling me like, this is a moment for the end of a struggle. It's like you've been calling in this new energy for a long time, but you've simultaneously been struggling against it as well because of your own fears and attachments and limitations and restrictions that you've placed upon yourself for what kind of experience you are. Just looking for the right word. Not allowed, but that you are willing or able to receive. You know, those words didn't quite get the energy that I wanted to catch there, but it'll be close enough. It has to do again with like self-love and insecurity or lack of security, lack of self-love. That's what has been a limitation for you, or a kind of resistance to receiving that kind of like abundance and beauty and pleasure and quality that you've been calling in. So how I'm seeing these two nines is that, again, like that release of that struggle, or the release of limitation, or the release of any kind of self-doubt over your willingness and ability and deservedness, that's the word, deservedness of actually accepting those things into your life and experiencing them as is your right. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Knight of Swords, reverse, the Hermit, Five of Wands, and King of Wands. I feel this is a kind of overcoming of your own insecurities, your own inner conflict, your own uncertainty, your own doubt about your worthiness of actually receiving this kind of bounty, because that's what it feels like. There's a bountiful energy here, but it's a different kind of energy. Like, it's not necessarily it can be a kind of like abundant wealth, but it's more a kind of earthly pleasure, more like a kind of abundance that you feel and you experience when you're just deeply connected. And then the Hermit energy is tying into those two nines again, where it's like you can overcome your own inner conflict about your worthiness to receive that kind of level of quality. There's a kind of vibrational attunement that's been going on for a long time, I feel, and I think for some of you may have already stepped into this space already. Others are still kind of gently moving towards it and kind of working through overcoming whatever these insecurities are, or kind of addressing any of this like residual kind of elimination process that's still going on. And then the King of Wands here is sort of saying, like, there's a lot of Wands energy here. There's quite a few Wands cards in the reading, and then this King of Wands coming out here is the final message of your reading here, saying to me that there's kind of as much as there's like a humility that's required in order to kind of accept and receive this kind of abundance and this kind of like quality, it's also kind of a responsibility. And there's this energy here of like discipline, you know, like this kind of mastery over the fire. It's definitely like a kind of discipline or a willfulness that is needing to be tempered and balanced by that kind of earthly feminine energy to actually just be able to embody this energy that we're talking about. I hope that's clear for you, Virgo. That was a straight transmission there. I feel that's it for your reading. I've noticed in a lot of the previous readings, I kind of watched back over and I felt like I was being a little bit repetitive and it made the readings kind of long. So I'm not gonna repeat anything here. That's your reading. I'm gonna take the Voyager deck now and shuffle again, give you a higher octave reading. This will provide us a little bit more insight into what's happening on a karmic and spiritual level. I'll just like bring a few more insights into what we've discussed here if they're needed. I'm going to use the same spread, the Holographic Mandala spread. So while I'm shuffling, please take a moment again to tune in with me and send your energy into the deck so I can get really clear messages for you. Eight of Wands reversed, crossed by the Chariot. Death reversed again, we've had that twice now. The Tower. 10 of Cups reversed. 9 of Worlds reversed. 2 of Wands reversed. 3 of Worlds reversed. The Hermit again. 9 of Wands upright, same card, same position. The Fool reversed. You had that at the center of the reading in the previous spread. 7 of Crystals, which you had here, 7 of Swords. A lot of repeating cards here. Balance, which is the Justice card from the Rider-Waite deck. It's called Balance in this deck. It's upright here. And the Lovers in reverse. Okay. It's interesting, there is a lot of the same cards here, but the energy feels really different. And I'll tell you why. It's because I feel like this spread is kind of describing, like what I touched on earlier where I was talking about how, you know, if you do this willingly and voluntarily, you know, do this process of evaluating and filing away and eliminating and like archiving things. This is kind of describing what things might look like if you don't do that process willingly. It's a lot more struggle and strife infused, you know, like the process of change and evolving and moving forward and transitioning can be elegant and graceful, or it can be a shitstorm. And it's up to you, you know, you have to choose, because change is inevitable. It's happening. You already invoked this a long time ago, and whether or not you actually initiated through your own intention a sort of change, that is life. Life is a constant change. So if you're not with the program, and if you're not like gracefully moving with energy as it's shifting and working with the opportunities that make themselves available to you, you'll either struggle or you'll glide, and it's up to you. So this is kind of describing here what it might look like if you don't work with the energies. You know, like there's a lot of reversals here, there's a lot of like struggle and fear, and you know, you have Tower at the foundation, so it could be something like the carpet being ripped out from under you. If you're not aware that changes are occurring and you're not working with the energy and being a little bit, using foresight and using your intuition to see where the energy is and is not, and adjust and calibrate yourself accordingly, you could really struggle here. You have, as I said, a lot of repeating cards here, but in this spread, it's like the dynamic is so different, and the energy, the way the cards synergize together is really describing that this could be really uncomfortable if you don't play nice. You know, like you have the Chariot as your crossing card over the Eight of Worlds, which is called Change in this deck in reverse. So if you're not like in sync with your own being and your own guidance and your wisdom, and if you're not paying attention to the signs and symbols around you, and if you're not working with what your own intuition is telling you, or what your own, you know, spirit is needing from you, then yeah, it's going to be really uncomfortable. You have the Hermit with the Seven of Crystals in the hopes infused position this time, which is saying to me that if you're not honest with yourself, like in this position, This is a perfect example of how the same card can be completely different meaning given the context of the other cards in the reading. So in the previous reading, the Seven of Swords in reverse here was telling me that this is a process of you like evaluating and extracting and removing what no longer works and archiving it away. In this reading, it's saying to me that if you're not going to be honest with yourself about your current state of affairs and what you need to do in order to make a shift and transition out of where you are into a new energy, you're going to be really uncomfortable. You're going to feel really alone. You could be depressed. You could be isolated. So this is a really clear instruction to actually work with what's there and not like hide away from it, not struggle from it, not avoid it, not pretend it's not happening, because that is where you will suffer. Now, death as the Crown card in reverse here. Again, different meaning, the same card in two different readings. Here I was talking about how there is a kind of what felt like a very graceful transition happening with a genuine willingness to rise up to meet the energies that are showing up. In this reading, being that it's in reverse here as the crowning card, with the Tower at the foundation in the upright position, this is telling me that if you're not willing to work with the energy that's there, and you're not being graceful with like a transition that's already in play, then you will experience something rather uncomfortable and difficult and potentially even painful, problematic, traumatic. These are the kind of energies that come with this kind of sensation. With the Chariot being the crossing card in the reading, is saying to me that you are not willing to move with the energy. If you're not willing to move with the energy, you're going to be really uncomfortable. You're going to struggle. You're going to maybe experience loneliness, depression, isolation. And then you have here the Fool card in the reverse position as your outcome card. In the previous reading, you had it upright at the center of the reading, describing a new beginning that you've already been working towards, that you've invoked some time ago. Here, this is saying if you're not working with the energy, this new beginning is a little bit out of reach, and it will feel like a struggle to get to the new place that you're already on your way to. So, perfect example of how the same card can mean totally different things in different readings based on the energies of the other cards and the synergy that they create together. So the messages for you here, the guidance for you, is to really work with the energy that's available to you in a very willing way, and don't struggle against what's already at play, because the energy is already in motion. It's too late to put the brakes on. You need this change. You want it, and it's yours for the taking. You can either come through this in a blaze of glory, or you can crash and burn. It's up to you. But don't struggle against what's happening. Work with purifying energy from the past and really striving to release and let go of anything that you've already outgrown. You try to grip and clutch and hang on to what's already past, you're limiting yourself, and that resistance will cause a lot of stress and strife. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Child of Wands in reverse. You had another page here in this reading, I remember. Let's see. Oh yeah, it says the center of the... Oh no, that's the 8. Never mind. Child of Wands reversed, 6 of Crystals, 7 of Cups, and 4 of Crystals in reverse. Now, the Child of Wands is called Seeker, it's in reverse. 6 of Crystals is called Confusion. 7 of Cups is called Fear, and 4 of Crystals in reverse, it's called Logic. This is telling me basically what I just described. If you try to struggle against the energy that's already at play, you will create a much more difficult experience for yourself than if you would actually just synchronize yourself and adapt to what is already in motion, and really willingly and voluntarily work with the changes and the transitions that are happening, so that you can actually do a triple backflip in the air and land on your feet, and it's going to be super cool. Just don't struggle. Stop struggling. Here you have the Empress at the bottom of the deck in reverse. You had her in the previous reading in the upright position as your outcome. So again, this is telling me, like, if you this is the opposite side of the previous reading. If the previous reading is describing a very graceful transition of you already kind of working with the energies that are there and doing your process of elimination and archiving and moving on, letting go, releasing yourself from previous energies, events, people, activities, situations. If you don't, you're going to be struggling, and it will be painful. It is painful. So really strive as much as you can, like really work to get yourself synchronized and in the same frequency of the energy that's moving in that's coming in, and release and let go of any resistance or struggle that you have, or I'm hearing relentless. Like if you're really, just take a moment to actually check where you are in all things. If you are feeling like you're struggling right now and this second reading is relating to you, is relevant for you, take a moment to look at what it is that you are resisting. Like what is it that you what are trying to hold on to that you have already outgrown. Like really look at those things, look at your emotions, look at how it is that you are maybe causing the hindrance yourself, and preventing the new start from happening by your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You know, like really check where are you in the whole scheme of things, and are you the one actually causing a blockage here? Are you your own enemy in this situation? I feel that's it for your reading, Virgo. I'm just checking over here to make sure I haven't missed anything. I feel like that really was such a clear transmission that I don't feel like I need to review or go over anything here, but just really work with the energies that are available to you. Don't struggle, don't resist. Adapt and flow with the transmissions of change that's happening, and you will land on your feet here. Work with the energies that are available to you. Okay. Thank you so much, Virgo. That was an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I hope you found some things in there you can work with. I would recommend watching that again now and giving it another review towards the end of the month. After events unfold, you might find some additional pieces of wisdom in there that you missed the first time over. On your screen now, you're going to see the playlist for all the May readings for the other signs. So do check your sun, moon, and ascendant. Or click on anything that jumps out at you, because all the readings are basically timeless wisdom, and you'll definitely find messages and valid information in all of them that you find useful. So yeah, there's the playlist for the May readings. There's also going to be the playlist for all the Virgo readings from months gone by. So if you're new here, you may want to go back and have a look at some of the previous readings to see what we're about here, and hopefully find some valid information that will help you on your way. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you have, thank you. Hit the notification bell as well. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in next month's readings.